Title: The Weight of Shadows. They called me insane. I remember the way my mother's voice quivered, a mixture of pity and disdain, as she told me I'd disgrace the family. My father's laughter, sharp and bitter, echoed in my ears long after I'd left home, a cruel reminder of the chasm that had opened between us. Cursed epidemiology, you're just a paranoid delusional. They'd sneered, their faces twisted in disbelief as I presented my findings. I was an outcast, a black sheep, doomed to chase ghosts in the dark while they basked in the mundane comforts of their lives. After I was fired from the city records office for exposing a cover-up of untraceable illness outbreaks, illnesses that crept like shadows through our neighborhoods, I dove deeper into my obsession. I spent years mapping clusters of deaths, tracing patterns that twisted and coiled like serpents. I was no longer just an epidemiologist. I was a cursed one, unraveling the dark threads of folklore and illness that entwined my city in a suffocating embrace. But the deeper I delved, the more the world pushed back. I found myself haunted by the very shadows I sought to illuminate. The whispers of ancient curses and forgotten rituals echoed through my mind, taunting me with their truths. Each night, I pored over my notes, maps filled with scrawls of madness, connecting dots that no one else could see. I was alone, but I was not afraid. The darkness became my companion, whispering secrets that the living dared not acknowledge. Years passed, and the world began to change. My work, once dismissed as the ramblings of a lunatic, gained traction. Articles were written, documentaries filmed. My name became synonymous with the horrors I had unearthed. I was no longer a disgrace, but a warning, a figure cloaked in shadows, heralding truths that society refused to confront. I had become the very embodiment of the darkness my family had once ridiculed. And so I returned home. The house looked the same, painted in the same dull beige, the lawn a patchy green. But there was something heavier in the air, a tension that prickled at my skin. I had come back not as the child they had scorned, but as a harbinger of what they had ignored. They greeted me with a mixture of surprise and wariness. My mother's eyes darted to my hands, where I clutched a weathered journal, its pages filled with the remnants of my journey. "What is it you want, dear?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I've come to show you what I've found," I replied, my voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of dread. "What you mocked, what you refused to believe, it's all real." They exchanged glances, disbelief etched in their features. My father scoffed. "We don't have time for your nonsense. You still think you're some kind of oracle?" "Just listen," I urged, feeling the weight of the journal in my hands. "There's something in this town, something that's been festering beneath the surface. I've mapped it, traced the patterns, and it's not just folklore. It's a reality." As I spoke, shadows flickered in the corners of the room, stretching and curling like fingers reaching for the light. My family's expressions shifted from skepticism to unease. I could see the doubt in their eyes morph into something more visceral, a primal fear that gnawed at their hearts. "Look," I said, flipping open the journal. I revealed the diagrams, the meticulous notes that chronicled the cursed territories, the clusters of deaths that had inexplicably followed certain paths through our city, paths that intersected with our very home. These patterns, they lead right to us. The air grew thick, heavy with an oppressive silence. My mother's breath quickened, and in that moment I knew I had struck a chord deep within their hearts. "You're scaring us, honey," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. But I pressed on. "Do you remember the stories, the ones you dismissed as superstitions? They're real, and they're coming for us." And then, in a chilling moment that felt ripped from the pages of a nightmare, the lights flickered. The shadows deepened, swirling around us. twisting into grotesque forms that loomed in the corners of the room. My family gasped, eyes wide with terror as they witnessed a manifestation of the very horrors I had spent years studying. The walls seemed to pulse, breathing the weight of the darkness that had been ignored for too long. An anguished wail echoed through the house, a sound that resonated with the very core of my being. "You thought I was mad," I said.